when we are experiencing, when any living being experiences the divine energy and the contact, I mean, even the atmosphere around gets jagrut.
Yeah.
Didi and I had gone to Devbhoomi, so Uttarakhand,
Right.
and we had visited, or rather prayed at the Gufa where Saptarishi Vashisht
Right.
had
Right.
been many thousands of years ago,
Right.
and of course where his wife Rishika Arundhati ji had also been,
Right.
and we just walked into the cave, and both Didi and I, we had tears in our eyes, emotions welling up. There was energy and strength, in that power, wisdom, divinity. And just if the cave had this, after thousands and thousands of years of Guru Vashishta and Arundhati ji's presence, one can imagine what their presence would have been like. If one was there. That point in time, it was, would we even have been able to absorb it?
Exactly.
Uh, and I can only imagine what a feeling of that would do to to a soul, to a life. In some ways, me writing feels like that's why I love writing so much, because it feels spiritual.
Right.
It doesn't feel like I'm doing something to earn money or to get fame. It's like there are other things that I'm forced to do, to like marketing, all that. One has to do it because the publisher has to make money. But what is truly special is that act of writing, some way to connect to the divine.
Right.
That's where our ancestors had so much wisdom, that you find something which your soul connects with.
Right.
Every work that you do then is a connection to the divine. What can be more pleasurable?
Exactly.
Then you're not working,
Tadvigattam.
you're enjoying life. Yeah.
In fact, when we dig deep,
Mm.
when we dig earth deep and water comes out,
Mm.
there comes a moment when water gushes forth, it fountains forth, and a fountain of water, fresh water, comes out, which is soft, pristine, and very thirst quenching and very calming. Actually, it's one of the things that is mentioned in the scriptures and that I'm sure you must have experienced firsthand, and many of us do. In fact, it's one of the classical signs of awakening, Amish. When we awaken, Kavina Mushna Kavi, Krishna says, I am the poet of the poets. I'm the greatest poet. All our scriptures are written poetically except a couple of Upanishads. So every verse falls under some meter. So they were all giant poems, so to speak. Now, one of the first things that happen is one starts to bubble with creativity, and that's when they start to produce like books or poems or things like that for the world, because it's like it's no longer in their hands. Another being has taken them over. In fact, when Parashar Rishi gave the boon to Satyavati, he said, look, you will have a son who's going to be the greatest poet in the world, Vyasa. He didn't say he's going to be the greatest sage. That's natural, because unless we are there, nothing creative will flourish. And how truthful that is, how impactful that is, easily determined by the length it survives. Like when Buddha spoke something, it was documented much later. What Christ spoke, it was documented much later. But what Prophet Muhammad spoke, it got documented much later. What Krishna spoke got documented much later. From the moment he left this earth, for the next 4,500 years, almost 4,000 years, there is no temple of Krishna. Nobody really understood him. Avjananti mamuda manusham tanumashadam parambham vajanantam mambhut maheshwaram. Most people will not understand me, Kante. They will think because I'm in a human body, I'm a human being. But those who really see the truth will know that I am everything. He said that. So when somebody is a creative person somewhere is awakened, that's my view. That's the view I take, because awakening is of different forms. What Einstein gave the world was just as powerful as anything else, I would imagine.